What's up, homie? Hey!
Hey, welcome to Pillage
No,
Overload.
you go lay down. You stay. Apparently the dogs want to get all up into it tonight. Hold on. Alright, I gotta wiggle my way through it, and oh fuck, I gotta sit. I might stand tonight.
Do you want it? Seriously, you want me to move it?
I'll move it. I'll decide what I want to do. Or right now I want to stand. Y'all look lively. We are lively. What's the matter? I can breathe
lively.
I can breathe quite well. I can breathe. I didn't say I could sit. I might be.
Suck it in.
I might be standing for the next hour. Yeah, I'll be standing for the next hour.
She can breathe standing up. It's sitting down that's the problem.
Yeah, well, it's not the sitting. It's the sitting and everything kind of becoming disoriented and yeah. I'm wearing layers.
It's called your guts being disoriented.
It's not my guts. All right.
They're like.
I am going to make a man corset for you and make you wear it.
Please do.
Yeah, okay. You'll be saying that now until I start strapping you into the bitch. As Smoke says, put the foot in the center of the back. Yeah. See, I have movement.
There is no 18th century man clothing that you need to put a foot in the back for.
Yes, I am wearing the stays things. That is underneath here. The girls are all here.
Yep.
I look like a girl tonight.
I could break my knuckles if I punched her in the chest right now.
Snowcoat says, I paid money to see that. You getting into,
Yeah.
We might need to get you one of those.
No.
Yeah.
What? You tell me what 18th century men's clothing requires
bulletproof vest. Yes, Christoph, welcome. It is. It's,
Yeah.
It's...
I'm telling you, if I hit her in the chest right now, my knuckles would
It's pretty solid.
collapse.
And what I am wearing right now is what my plan is to wear at the Irish Festival in mid-March. So I got bodice, which I might end up remaking because it is a little...
But tell me, how awesome does she look? She looks fucking fantastic.
Well, you also don't see the bottom part with the skirts and... I'm wearing a skirt!
Y'all didn't get to see the view I just got to see. Yes,
you didn't. I have a shift underneath of it, so you didn't see what you wanted to see. It's called layers. I can hide what I want to hide. Yeah. But anyway, thank you. Looking good, girly. Thank you. I feel good in it. He was joking with me because I literally, I got home around 4:30. I went upstairs and started working on stuff, and it was like 5:30, and I messaged him because he was out on the front porch smoking his pipe. I'm like, I think you need to come inside and help me get in my stays because they're back laced, so he has to help me lace into them.
Yep, I know.
I've literally been in my...
I know how to lace corsets, stays.
You also know how to unlace them.
You ain't a man pirate if you don't know how to lace a corset or some stays.
So, basically, since 6 o'clock, I have been in my stays, and after I hemmed the petticoat, the skirts, I've been wearing those around. I'm like, oh yeah, this is what they used to wear, like 18th century, doing all this shit, just wearing this. And I turn to him, I'm like, imagine me wearing this to camp. And he's like, I don't have a big issue with it. I'm looking at, like, how my boobs are all hanging there, and I'm like, are you sure you don't have an issue with this? If I were wearing this to camp? I'm pretty sure his attitude would change once I'm in camp.
Well, you know.
Boobs. It's all about the boobs. So, we told you. As
always.
We told you last week we were going to change it up. So, he dressed down.
I dressed down.
I'm
in my on-deck
dressed down
pirate work clothing.
What are you doing, dog? And we didn't put the fence up. We didn't put the gate up, so both dogs are back here.
Dogs are chilling with us
he's been really whiny. How about you lay down? Come on, lay down. Lay down. All the way. Don't make me fall over.
Lay down.
All right. Pirates are about the booty. And they're about the boobies. It's the booty and the boobies. So, but last week we told you guys, after we were talking about, obviously, my dress gown. So I am not wearing what I was showing you guys last week, which is going to be the gown I'm going to wear into the Order of Life and Ball. This is what I'm going to be wearing to the Irish Festival. I haven't been able to try the whole thing on in full. ensemble. That's why I wanted to wear it tonight. So
it's very similar to this.
Yeah.
Just different colors.
Different colors, and the top and the bottom are connected. These are separate pieces. So it's more working class, and that's why I wanted to wear it tonight, because we were talking about dressing down. And this is of a lady of the 18th century dressing down.
Yeah.
Actually, dressing down would mean not having the bodice on, just walking around the stays and all that. But I'm not doing that.
Don't get her wrong. She's still a pirate now.
I am a pirate. Don't.
Y'all have seen her. The other get-ups are it's normal. This is you ain't got no internet. You ain't
That's
doing
my
shit.
toes. I still got a foot there, even though I'm not sitting. Don't step on my toes. We told you last week we were going to come into a totally different ensemble. And
so here we are.
Here we are. And I'm not going to sit for the rest of the week. Not the rest of the week, but the rest of the episode. Ladies, the Smoking Bacon full photo of the Deborah as a girl right after this. No, wait a minute. What? Huh? She asked why Ballast was wearing a chef's hat. Who asked why Ballast was wearing a chef's hat?
It's not a chef's hat. Oh my God, you people.
Who asked if Ballast was wearing a chef's hat? Did I miss that? Apparently I did.
Hat. So
Go ahead, explain your hat.
It is in the 18th century. They wore caps.
Imagine that, 18th century.
Yeah, 18th century. They wore caps like this. This was basically a sailor's working cap. So if they're on deck, instead of running around in their big, tricorns and bicorns and all those hats that would just fly off your head if the wind came along, they would wear something like this to protect their head from the sun and still be able to keep cool. This is basically just a linen working cap. So it's really just a tube with one end tied off and one end on my head, folded up a little bit, and made out of linen. That's all it was.
And finished nicely. You're welcome.
Because, this lady right here does the good.
Keep sun off, 18th century sunscreen. Yes, well, that's really why a bunch of the 18th century, why they wore layers.
You gotta figure they're floating around the Caribbean, man. That sun down there is kicking. So you wanted to have something on your head, keep the sun from burning, scorching the top of your noggin.
Well, it's also why you wear it when you paint videos, right?
Yeah.
You don't want your noggin to get scorched on by a video.
Y'all don't need to see the top of my bald ass head.
He just doesn't want the camera to scorch on his head.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any. It's back in the 90s. So were there really lots of peg leg pirates? No. Not really.
I mean,
there were pirates who lost limbs and everything, but it wasn't so much a peg leg. It was crutches. And I actually think Black Sails did a really good job of portraying what it would have been like with as an amputee on a ship.
Yeah, like with John Silver.
Long John Silver, yeah.
Went through in Black Sails. That's pretty much how it would have been for somebody who had an amputation happen. That was a pretty historically accurate portrayal.
I would say it was
that type of thing.
I mean, they might have had
cut it off and the way they handled it on the ship when they were at sea, pretty accurate actually.
Yes, Black Sails have boobs, Clark Jason.
Yeah.
It's like in the second episode with Blackbeard.
Yeah, they had boobs.
Go!
And
If you want to see Blackbeard, go watch Black Sails in episode 2 or 3. It was like one of the first. It was one of the
episode.
No, it wasn't the first. It was like one of the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, it was in the very beginning. You'll see Blackbeard.
Lots of smoking bacon, Marwood boobies.
Yeah.
It's the boobies.
There's lots of nakedness in Black Sails.
There's just lots of boobies in smoking bacon.
Go watch it and have fun with that.
Yeah. Boobies.
You'll see some TNA in Black Sails.
Snow Cone with Smoke. When did you watch Black Sails? Maybe the week when he was in quarantine, stuck in his office, and he stopped watching that horror B-rated bullshit that was just god awful. So one of the things that we thought would be kind of cool. Oh, I got a dog pile over here. Watch where I'm walking. They're over here.
Over there too.
Yeah, I said dog pile, both of them. I think I've seen a couple episodes of Black Sails. I need to get back into it because I do like pirates. There's more, Clark Jason. There's more than just pirates for you to like in that one.
I started rewatching it too and got into the first few episodes again. I think I'm gonna keep rolling with it. It's cool to watch it before our pirating season starts because it kind of gets you like worked up and inspired.
Oh, what gets me worked up and inspired is when I make stuff and put it on and it fits!
Yeah.
Hey!
Kind of gets the pirate juices flowing, you know?
I've seen everything I need to see on Black Sails to smoke. Marwood says, ring the damn bell!
Ring
Him and that damn bell. I'll happily drink to that.
Drink up me hearties, yo-ho!
You just stroll the shit out of Bonnie. She's on your side now. Hi, little girl.
Hi, Bonnie.
You look completely alerted and aware.
Lay down.
One thing I thought would be kind of cool, you know, we keep talking about how we want to bring entertainment and the history with you guys. So
we keep talking about how we want to entertain you.
We want to entertain you guys, like as we sit here and like. You missed that?
Beat chest, flap hats around.
Surrender to booty! Well, I haven't, so now I'm gonna. One of the things I thought would be kind of cool for us to go through and maybe to continue on to our future seasons, because clearly you guys aren't gonna let us go away. You know that we're not gonna be around in the summer. We'll be here in the winter, we'll be here in the fall, winter, but we won't be around in the summer. Fall, winter, because we're gonna come back right after summer, but we have a winter break, and then we're back in the spring, winter, and however that works. Anyway.
Come on.
Yeah, you need a bell. Actually got some Kraken. Ooh, you got Kraken? You know what we finally have? 100 proof rum. I found Captain Morgan.
Yeah.
Hi, Bonnie. I found Captain Morgan 100 proof rum.
That's worth a bell ring.
2 weeks ago, and I bought 2 bottles. I bought 2 bottles of it, so we are on our second bottle. Morgan. I have found how the ABC store shows inventory that's not always accurate, but it's a lot better than guessing and driving. Is it a spicy rum? It is. It is a spice rum. It's a 100 proof spice rum.
Yes.
Kraken is a spice rum, but it's a dark spice rum, which is good. It's our go-to when we don't have 100 proof Captain, because Kraken is 96 proof.
94.
It's in the early 90s, man.
94.
It's in the early 90s, man.
Yeah, man.
Sunny Boy says it's 94. So yeah,
it's 94.
It is, and that's our backup when we don't have our
Captain
normal
Morgan
Captain.
makes specifically a 100 proof.
You guys are entertained by us being idiots, drunk, pirates, but you also enjoy some of the historical stuff. So I thought it might be neat. I have access to the Boston newsletter, and the Boston newsletter was one of the first published newsletters of the colonies in the early 1700s. And really the first ever newsletter was published on April 24th in 1704 by a man named John Campbell. And Boston, it was kind of those bulletins where they pulled information from all the other colonies, and once a week they would post, I'm saying post, like it's freaking
like they got a
group board on Facebook or something, or smoking bacon.
Once a week they would post.
Once a week.
They would post on Facebook.
So, but they would make notes weekly, and it was Monday to Monday on events that were happening across the East Coast. And I have that, and I have volume 1, which apparently is the only one that did, because it was supposed to be 3 volumes, but I think they only published 1 volume. But anyway, so I actually am not positive how many years it went through, because I kind of stopped, but I thought it'd be fun. We'll see how far we can get in the years with you guys with doing this. So, because we're live with you guys once a week, we will share what the post was once a week from the Boston newsletter, and trust me,
it'd be kind of cool just to progress. You know, we'll share something this week, and then next week we'll share
the
next one that they posted. So we're kind of gonna do it in chronological order.
And we might bounce back because, like I said, the first one was April of 1704, and because we're in the Monday to Monday of end of January, early February, we have to jump ahead a year to 1705. And trust me, these aren't like frickin' our newspapers today where it's page after page after page after page.
Yeah,
no, it's like 2 pages of highlights. So
yeah, because they had printing presses back then. They weren't like they were doing that shit manually.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they were running a big ass press in a warehouse.
So today being February 3rd, yes, I had to think about that. February 3rd, 2022.
Cruising. Right into
We are
summer,
cruising.
bitches. Summer.
You are
Come on, summer.
Shut up.
That was funny.
Dick. Oh shit. Yes, Kristoff. He's gonna find himself in the doghouse. It's like over the dogs on the couch, not in bed.
Come on, summer. It's getting warmer.
My point being, the Boston newsletter in 1705, mind you, because I said it started in April and we're only in February. So this newsletter is from January 29th through Monday, February 5th of 1705. And their first report is Newport, Rhode Island. January 14th had a storm that caused tide to rise 2 feet higher than the table. It was the highest it has ever seen. I'd be really curious to see now what the highest above the table.
A hell of a nor'easter to raise the tide 2 feet.
2 feet.
Because it's not hurricane season.
No.
So, like, normally a hurricane will, have the...
No, it had to be a nor'easter because we talked about the nor'easter that took out Bellamy in April. And that was a killer one.
I'm just saying, you got...
Literally, get it? Haha, it was a killer one.
But you got the sea level rising ahead of a hurricane, but it's January.
It's like a
February,
hurricane, but it only
hurricane.
forms on land.
Yeah.
Day after tomorrow.
Pretty wild. That must have been a hell of a storm.
2 feet above its. So that was the first snippet. Second snippet was Samson Shelton Broughton died January 22nd. Well, what you don't know about Samson Shelton Broughton, I didn't know either, because they were giving him like all these procedures. Oh, His High Majesty. Oh, the Lord Ephesod. Oh, let's kiss his ass. He was actually.
They didn't look. Let me stop you right quick. They did a lot of ass kissing back then.
Like beyond ass kissing.
A lot of ass.
Beyond ass kissing.
Oh my God. Because still colonies. We're still 50, 60 years from any beginning of revolution.
1776.
So they're still kissing that English ass. And boy, they did it, and they didn't have any qualms about it.
But yeah,
kiss that English ass.
He was the first Attorney General in New York. That was what his big deal was. That's why they were kissing his royal ass. So I guess if you were the first of anything, that's kind of a big deal.
Attorney General, huh?
Hey, you're stepping on my skirt. So yes, and then the other piece of it that they were reading was how difficult travel was because apparently of the excessive deep snow that they were having between the East and West. And they were having issues with getting publications coming not only from the East and West, because the Boston newsletter took information from all the different colonies and published it, so what it was. So they were having issues getting it because of all the snow. And I'm sitting here thinking, they've had 20 some odd inches since January 1st this year in 2022. And they were talking about snowshoes and how the locals were like, oh yeah, it's not a big problem. We know that we need snowshoes, but everybody else traveling doesn't know how to use snowshoes.
yeah.
So, and then the other piece of it was Governor Dudley. I think his name was Joseph Dudley, who was the governor of Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Connecticut. What?
No. Go ahead.
Did you say your mama?
Yeah.
You're a dick. Thank God for global warming. So Governor Dudley actually had a proclamation, which was like like almost half of the newsletter for this past week.
Lately, but they got some snow up there right now. So.
That's what I just said. They had 26 inches since January 1st.
Yeah, I know.
And you know how I know that? Because my cousin's stationed up there, so that's how I know. So Governor Dudley, who was the governor of all those locations, did this proclamation. It was literally like half of the newsletter, and it was like the first page and part of the second page. And it was basically saying, "Oh, we have sinned. Oh, we must repent our sins. We must go and pray for our sins. Pray for the queen because we fuck." And she's getting her ass beat in the war because they're in the middle of the Spanish Succession, which is also what we have talked about, Queen's Anne War, and they're about 3 years into it. So he pleaded that everybody go and pray so that they would win the war. Anyway, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. The other, so that was what was the Boston Newsletter reported that week of 1705. So what will they report next week?
Tell us, Captain Kirk.
One of the other interesting things is I think the corset is getting her drunker. It is not. Shut up.
It's keeping it all up in her brain. That's what's in.
You know what? I'm going to so backhand you. It's not even going to be funny. Keep it up.
Dramatic music.
I'll give you dramatic music. One of the interesting things is that in 1582, Pope Gregory the 13th came up with his own calendar to try to align the Easter holiday up from year to year with the sun lineup and all that, which is kind of hilarious because when you talk about celestials and all that, it was more paganism. Yet the church is going to realign the calendar so that the sun lines up with the holiday of this. Anyway, so 1582.
The pagans.
Those pagans. They're all kind of back. So Pope Gregory XIII, October 1582, create this calendar, and it was to be able to create an accurate date of Easter, and became the foundation of the Christian faith. What is interesting to know is that England did not actually take, what's the word I'm looking for? Adapt. They did not adapt that calendar to 1752. So from 1582 to 1752, and, when the English was trying to find the past with Drake and all that to get to all the Spanish gold, and they would take Spanish was on the Gregorian calendar, and the English was on the Julian calendar, and there's an 11-day difference. So the English would take over, if they would take a Spanish ship and get their records and their logs and everything, and be like, oh, we have this many days. Well, they kept missing it. I wonder why. They kept missing it by 11 days. I don't know why, but they kept missing it by 11 days. So.
Not sure.
Yeah, right? Easter wasn't always on Easter Sunday. Actually, it used to be on a Thursday from what I was reading.
Yeah, how about that?
That's why they adapted.
Which calendar you were using it.
Right. That's why they adapted the Gregorian calendar, because of they found that it was more. They had the leap year every so years, and it's just weird. If you guys really are interested, I would recommend reading into the differences between the two. It's just like, okay. But that's also what makes research in history really difficult between the 1580s and the 1750s, is because they had what was called the old calendar and the new calendar.
Yeah, trying to pin down.
Can we just say you're fucked up and you didn't want to follow policies and all that? The colored eggs and the bunny were all symbols of fertility. Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
It is true. It's 100% true. Same thing. Well, I can.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not gonna.
I can go in a rant about all those holidays and where they really came from, but
we're not gonna get into religious shit right now.
So, but that is what was interesting about the calendars and the Gregorian and all that. So, yeah, and we'll share some more with. And next week, join us, and we'll find out what happened from.
Join us next week.
Join us next week.
She talks about
the following week in the Boston newsletter. February 6th to February 13th. Something like that. Hashtag drink more rum. Drink more rum. Sunny Boy says ding ding.
Ding.
Ding. Did pirates have star maps?
Ding.
They didn't have. So they didn't have star maps. They were taught. It was more of learned knowledge with the stars, wasn't it?
Well,
that's what Sunny Boy's asking if they had star maps for navigation when they were on the water. I don't know if it was something that was taught. I don't think it was so much maps. I mean, they learned about how the wind trades were without understanding what it was.
I'm honestly not well versed in navigation. Because there's a fine art to that, and it's a very,
that's a good question too.
It's a huge skill.
I am not drunk.
That is a skill that I don't have. As far as I know, I mean, I know during the day a lot they use the sextant, and it was based on the position of the sun.
He says sextant and position.
And
I can do it too, thank you very much.
They use that a lot to calculate their position, but as far as the stars are concerned, yes, they did use the stars, but how all that works, me personally, not so familiar with that.
That would actually be really interesting.
That's actually something I need to, get better at, because, being that I'm a pirate, I should probably know how to navigate a ship.
Well, I think it's also interesting because you hear about just a lot of sailors talking about stars and even the most basic understanding of our Milky Way and all that.
Yeah, clearly the navigators knew what they were doing, and they did use the stars in that aspect, but not everybody in the ship had those skills, so clearly...
Well, that's what made them valuable.
Yeah. And it kind of leads into what I was going to talk about tonight, was different jobs on the ship. And
before you jump into that, Snowcone had said, excuse me, I had hiccups. Vikings used a prism, and I think that was more of what we saw with Josh Gates in that prism. So that would be good for you to lead into that.
Snowcone, because we actually watched the episode of Expedition Unknown where Josh Gates went and got with the Viking...
The reenactors!
He actually got with Viking reenactors, and they have... I forget what they called it.
GPS is a wonderful thing.
There's a particular stone or that they use.
I can't think of what the name of it is. Snowcone, do you remember? Yeah, you love that episode. Do you remember what the stone they called it? That it wasn't sea and stone or... Yeah. It was something stone. Obviously, it was a fucking stone.
It was some kind of stone that projected two images of this, like when you pointed it at the sun. It was
horizon and sun to be able to get the degrees.
It kind of worked as their sextant, if you will.
Yeah, sunstone. That's it. Yeah. Thank you, JP Jr.
Because you could you could use it even on a cloudy day. It could tell you where the location of the sun was, and they could use it to navigate and get their directions from it. So, those were particular skills that you had to have, and there were particular people on board the ship that knew these things. Not everybody had these skills. So, in my case, so when we're reenacting,
Yeah, foggy and cloudy
doing our
days.
historical interpretation of the Golden Age piracy, I portray
Carpenter?
yes, a carpenter's mate. Sorry.
Just helping you out. Have some more rum. It's okay.
The rum's starting to fog things a little bit.
Eh.
I probably shouldn't have waited till the end of the episode to start talking about this, but anyway.
Oh,
I'm gonna get through this.
Well, ballast didn't come from the carpenter portion. Lashing goes what my role is. But
Yeah.
Your role is not attributed to ballast.
Yeah. My pirate name is not attributed to the job that I do or what I portray in the 18th century. That was based on a particular moment in time. It doesn't really relate to that. My particular job, or what you would call skill, they looked for people like me that had skills. So when, say, pirates took ship, you know, they might not give a shit about most of the crew. Sometimes they were looking for people that had navigation skills, and sometimes they were looking for carpenters. I'm a carpenter. So I would have been somebody that they were in need of. Because it's always good to have a carpenter on a pirate ship. You get into these battles and ship gets damaged. A lot of things need repair. A ship is made of wood. So being a carpenter is a highly sought after skill. They actually would, in some cases, become part of the upper echelon of the crew. They might, in some cases, give pirates or carpenters
higher ranking positions for the crew, you mean?
Yeah, they were treated better. They may have got more of the portion of the booty when things were taken. Yes. It depends on how sought after and how much they were needed on the ship, and of course the captain that they had. So what?
They're asking about Sir Francis Drake. I'm trying not to be so distracting. I'm sorry.
Are you whispering to the crowd?
Yeah. Sunny Boy says that he learned about Sir Francis Drake today.
Oh, cool.
And Sir Francis Drake is freaking awesome to learn about.
He's not Golden Age piracy, but
he is an original pirate. He is an original where Queen Elizabeth was like, "You're my pirate, but I'm not going to tell everybody you're my pirate. Go do what I want, and I'm not going to confirm nor deny."
He was one of the first privateers that ended up becoming considered a pirate.
Okay, he says, "I love Francis Drake today. Did ships sometimes have blacksmiths?" Yes.
Yes.
Wade said, "Of course he did." Yes, they had blacksmiths. That was one of the ones like carpenters. So it was really important.
What's cool about blacksmiths aboard a ship
Knickers.
is, of course, you have to have what do they call it? The
forge.
Yes, they had to have a forge. So this is something they would break out and maybe just throw up on the deck and get a forge going up on the deck.
Kitchen was another spot they did it in.
Yeah.
I guarantee it wasn't the poop deck.
And I can tell you, from being aboard two different tall ships, I know the Susan Constant actually had. So on the Susan Constant, they actually had a brick oven where the
second as the kitchen as well.
The kitchen actually had a brick oven in it. So there was a portion in the middle of the ship where they bricked off a room, basically, and turned it into an oven, kind of like you see with like the brick ovens you see in like backyards and stuff nowadays. They would build that into the center of the ship, so it had a chimney that went off up onto the deck, and the smoke would actually come up through the chimney and go off at deck level. So that would be where they would cook the majority of the food. They actually, obviously, they were going to do it for the entire cruise, so they had big cast iron pots and stuff like that. In certain situations, if they needed, the blacksmith needed somewhere to make a good fire or forge something, they could turn it into a forge, or they could cordon off part of the deck and actually build a forge on the deck of the ship.
Take a breather real quick. I appreciate how Snowcone is the only one trying to keep the conversation into what we are talking about. Because everybody, well, JP Jr. is actually in there too. Everybody else. Knickers, knockers, cheese meat, mama, headlights, high beams, hooters, jugs, whoppers, speed bags, jelly beans.
Yeah, you guys have been hanging around smoke too long.
That's why I say JP Jr. and Snowcone are the only two who are kind of staying with the conversation right now.
Come
Sonny
back
boy,
to
you are a drunk pirate, Sonny boy.
Yeah.
You are,
Look,
sir.
I'm drunk and I'm actually talking like I'm actually still trying to educate you and being drunk at the same time. So in my case, I might have.
He's drunk and speaking full sentences, which doesn't with him or Smoke.
Well,
he is drunk and speaking full sentences.
Mostly full sentences.
Smoke, I don't think is, but continue.
Anyway.
Yes, Ballast is.
I'm going to
continue on.
I'm going to continue.
Yes, continue, love.
So, you might gangs of the crew together. So if you're in a blacksmith's case, if they needed something that was gonna help the ship in any way, you might get a gang of guys helping them make fire, bang out the metal. In a carpenter's case, if they had just had a battle and they needed repairs done to the ship, like mast repair or the deck repaired or anything like that, the carpenter's going to go around and get, parts of the crew together and have them help him out. Because he's just one guy.
Oh my god, your nose is cold.
He's going to need a gang of guys to help him repair the deck or, make a new mast. They may actually have to go ashore and cut down trees, things like that. This might take place when they're careening, which we've talked about before. Careening is when
extremely dangerous. You might lose a leg or an eye or a boob or a nut.
You could lose
all of the above.
But we've talked about careening before. Careening is when you bring the ship ashore and the tide goes out, and they actually lay the ship on its side.
What the fuck are you saying?
It's mostly to take care of the hull, but it can also be to repair the mast, party out to go chop down some trees to make new parts for the mast, or
yes, they did.
Cut down boards.
They kept barrels of pitch on board.
Yep.
They did.
Yeah. So when they careened, they would scrape all the barnacles, take the pitch, put it on the outside of the ship to seal it up.
Well, it's in a barrel, Snowcone. That's how they wouldn't get it everywhere. It's kind of contained in a barrel.
Yeah.
Kind of like rum and beer.
Yeah. It would be like that, and they'd bring it down, and when they careen the ship would like actually be laying on its side. They'd tie it down.
Still, yeah, it's closed in.
At low tide. So it's actually sitting on the sand, laying on its side. And with the hull exposed, they'd scrape the barnacles off, put the pitch back on there,
again,
seal it up.
Black Sails actually portrays it very well how they did it. They did it right.
They did that in Black Sails also.
And why, if you didn't do it right, how it could be dangerous.
It could be,
why
very dangerous.
Appropriate knots, lashing, is, and I've been learning all the different knots, which is why that my stays are staying in place, because I made the cording that are tying these bitches up in place.
So each job, each thing you did aboard a ship was important. you know,
yes,
whether
JP
you were a
Jr.
carpenter, whether
Accurate.
you were a blacksmith, whether you were the cook, you know, these were all
Think
important.
of, sorry. JP Jr. says unheated pitch is thick. Heated to apply to make it thinner. And the best way to explain that is like fat. Fat is it's dense and thick, and then once you warm it up, it gets thinner, it's pliable.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's a little bit more liquid, but the idea is the same.
Well, they would, if they were careened, they would bring it down on the beach and probably pour it into a cast iron pot to heat it up and thin it out.
I didn't do a YouTube
so
video on my
that
board.
it would be easier to apply. Because you could build a campfire on the beach. There were ways to do things, and you know and honestly, these guys were pretty innovative in the things that they came up with. They had, you know, the carpenter had very specific tools that they worked with.
And still had limited access to tools and had to be...
Yeah, they had
like you
to
said,
be...
innovation was huge.
They had to be very innovative. You know,
upcycle. A whole new word to upcycle.
On board a ship, you know, you might have 4 or 5 main tools that you worked with. You know, if you were in a shop on shore, you had access to a lot more things. Carpenter on a ship, you might pulling knife, a saw, some chisels, a hammer, and something to measure with and a right angle. That's probably all you had. And you had to figure it out. Do your measurements and do all that either underway.
Yeah, there was no calculator back then.
While you were careened. So
no pallet patch jobs.
It's not like you could just get on Amazon and freaking have that shit sent to you.
No,
you either brought it with you or you didn't fucking have it.
Well, they were talking about even the Golden Hind. So, talking about Drake with the Golden Hind. Actually, that story alone is... So, after you listen to about Drake and you hear about how his ship was renamed the Golden Hind, it'd be very interesting to hear your opinion on it, because the story and everything and the research I had done is just bizarre. We'll just call it bizarre. From what it was originally called to them rename it the Golden Hind. Anyway, so the Golden Hind currently is in England as a replica ship for people to come on and visit. I do not believe it is the original ship. Definitely don't think it's a reproduction, but it's a reproduction from decades ago, and it's
been around for a little while.
But it's a reproduction of how they did the techniques. So they still need to go in and do the repairs and everything like they used to. So they were showing us and how it was actually, you didn't watch this with me. This was when I was sitting in the airport. They were talking about how they had to cut the wood down and put the holes in because everything was peg nails pretty much. And everything is pressure fitted. And you got to think about when wood is in water, it swells, and when it's out of water, it dries. So you have it out of the water, you cut everything right, you make it tight, you put it in, and when that bitch gets in water, it swells and it's watertight. And that was kind of the idea. So it's very interesting to think about that. There's not a lot of sealants when you go with science and how wood works and the nature with water and not water, humidity and dry air. So I thought that was really fascinating. It was pitch that they used. I don't know what the other thing that they used.
Well, they have... Can't think of the tool. I should know this. There's a specific tool that they use, like when they're reworking the decks, and they use hemp to seal up in between the boards on the deck, and there's a specific tool that they use to punch it down in between the boards, and I can't think of the name of it right now.
Really?
I should know it.
Smoke says, I walked back in and all I heard was tight and swells. Clark says, that's pretty cool. No, Sunny Boy, way over common sense knowledge to build ships and snow cone. Yeah. It's like, way...
It was pretty amazing, man. Shipwrights back then, it's amazing to think that they didn't use...
screws and
you know...
Flex seal!
Yeah, they had nails and stuff, but, you know, not in the sense that we use them today. you know, a lot of it was put together with dowels and, you know.
Flex seal.
What?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's what we
would.
Probably not that far off.
It's probably what we would do today is Flex seal.
But it's pretty amazing that they could put a wood ship together that way and it be as watertight as they were. Granted, they weren't perfect, but the woodworking that they did was pretty amazing.
And then Clark says, y'all planning on doing a small-scale build of a ship or boat? No, Smoke, he is not genius, because the best, and Marwood would agree with this, the happiest day of a boat owner's life is buying and selling. So guess what I'm not doing either of?
No.
Buying or selling, because I own a fucking house.
It's funny you guys bring that up, because I've actually wanted to...
And his father owns a marina.
I wanted to take the cannon that I built and actually make a deck and like part of the side of the ship to demonstrate how a cannon is fired and have the portal and all that. I've seen it done before. The unfortunate thing is that we don't have any way to transport this to
not till we buy a trailer.
Yeah. So once we get a trailer,
this man wants to buy a freaking barrel table before we buy a trailer.
Look.
Oh.
Why you gotta call?
Yeah.
She's calling me out.
I'm calling him out.
Anyway.
Because I love him.
Once we get this trailer, I'm probably gonna build like a small deck and like the side of a ship with a portal, and so we can demonstrate how a cannon is actually fired on a ship. So when I do that, I want to try and do it historically accurate and make it built the way it would have been built.
Smoke! This fall, the first annual Pirate Boat Wars. We need a pond. You have to build a small cardboard pirate boat. Take to the pond and see if you can capture someone else's. It is so happening now. Oh my god, we already got to deal with a fucking boat at Newbern in August. Now we got to deal with a ship.
Hey, or they could come to Smith Mountain Lake.
Or Newbern. Come to any of the events that we kind of do.
When we go to Smith Mountain Lake in July.
Gotta have midget actors do the recreation of the ship more Smoke. If we're gonna go that route, fine. We'll do it here in Smoke's pool.
That's not quite big enough.
Well, if we're talking about midgets and all that, we'll do it in Smoke's pool. We'll call it done. Alright, done. There's your pond. Smoke's pool. Greasy ass green fucker. 2 big events that we do
during the year that this could be done at Smith Mountain Lake. We're right on the lake. Y'all could, anybody that wants to come and build a boat and
Stoko's like, Christ almighty. She's pulling out her fucking hair.
Newbern, North Carolina.
Oh my god.
Down there for the raft races. If you all want to build a raft or build a boat that you think can take somebody down.
It won't.
Bring it.
It won't, Smoke. If it's off your property, it's not going to cover. I can tell you that right now. I need a pond. Search tomorrow. What if my current business insurance will cover this? I said no. Snowcone says, no, it won't. So, we're on the last 2 minutes. And we're buffering all of a sudden.
We're giving Smoke
too many fucking ideas, because we're going to be busy enough.
So,
I guess.
Anyway.
Ooh, wow, that's really warm.
Hopefully within the next couple of years, I'm going to be building something like that.
We are so having a pirate cardboard boat war.
Tell them you guys, come to Smith Mountain Lake.
Yes. Can we push the boundaries? Oh, fucking hey, man. You know what? We are going to go be pirates at Smith Mountain Lake and go be pirates on the water. And there's your cardboard cutout, Smoke. Yeah. So take your ass to Roanoke, Virginia.
We go to Smith Mountain Lake.
My pond is in Tennessee. One of our crewmates' ponds in Tennessee too, Sonny Boy. I'm pretty sure it's right there with you. So manual powered, no motors. So yes, you say manual powered, no motors, but we're pirates. What do you think is going to happen?
Look,
motor.
Hey, you got ideas? Build something. Bring it. We'll be at Smith Mountain Lake.
It's turning into a Pinewood Pirate Derby. Sonny Boy says cheat. Pirate?
Yeah.
Who plays by the rules? Come on now.
We're not big spenders.
Mm-mm.
So, anyway.
2 boats per... Oh, he's going on a roll. So, anyway. Can I see this real quick?
Yeah.
I don't want to hit my head, but I would like to step up because everybody has seen the... So, you may not... She's a girl. Oh, yeah, no, everybody sees me. We just took a hot second. There we go. Here.
Look at you.
You want to hold that?
Yeah, sure.
So, I figured I'd get my ass up here so you guys can see the whole outfit because you can't see me down there. So, hi! I am wearing a full 18th century, may not be totally historic accurate, and that's really warm standing right here. So, hi. Just saying hi.
Look at you.
Just saying hi.
Hi.
Yes,
bye.
and as everybody joking about me getting out of this, I will be
Let's see what everybody's saying.
What is everybody saying? Can you read it?
No. Post a full-length photo in the ladies of smoking bacon. Nice hips. Hold on.
Let's do the time warp again.
Meat eater mores weigh nothing. Clark Jason says yay. Marwood said, wow, that's a dress.
Yeah, it is. I'm not
Sonny
just
says,
faking
nice
it.
hips. Smoking Bacon says, post a full-length photo and lazy of smoking bacon.
You're just now repeating yourself, or
No,
do I need it like
parentheses,
hit you so you're not on a repeat?
Smoking Bacon says, weed eater motors hum. I like it. Smoke. Smoke bombs for cannonballs.
It is 9:30.
On that note.
On that note. Guess what?
Booty in my face.
So everybody, we'll see you next week. It'll be a little bit of a different flavor.
Marwa said, Jay, smack that booty.
Yeah. See how well you
Too late now.
See how well you slept that beauty. Beauty.
I
booty.
got some of it.
Anyway, so we will.
Yeah, Clark, have a great night.
We will see you guys next week. It'll be a little bit different flavor, but
thank you for hanging out.
Thank
you for staying the whole hour and
hashtag
putting up with my bullshit. And
he just totally over talked all that. You want to try that again?
What?
Hashtag.
Drink more rum.
We were apparently. I need a.
Hashtag.
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 Drink more rum before I kick his ass. You guys have a good night. Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.